How have I never covered Mono Red Burn in Modern? Like, I'm an idiot. Hey guys, how you doing? I can't believe I've just never done it. Mono Red Burn in Modern is one of the most staple decks in the format. Anyone looking into Modern, who's started in Modern, is a little bit curious. You've all heard of Mono Red. It's one of the best decks out there. It's one of the easiest decks to play and understand and really get into the format. So, I think, and this is a good way to think of it for most people, the main structure of Mono Red is very much the same from deck to deck to deck. You're trying to do the same game plan, but it's a little variances where everyone debates over. The core of the deck is very well set in, but how many copies of this, or what should you run in relation to this? It's just little tweaks here and there that everyone decides what's better for them. So this is my build based on my meta and what I play with and my friends, and you might find it's pretty common. So where did Mono Red start from? Lightning Bolt's a pretty good bet. 1 mana, 3 damage wherever you need. Face creatures, whatever you need to do. Only rule with Lightning Bolt: always bolt the bird. If they play that Birds of Paradise, you bolt that pigeon out of the sky, get rid of it, because you don't want to get ahead of you. But if they get low on life, straight to the face. Rift Bolt, it is sorcery speed, but you can delay it with suspend for 1. But the good thing about that is it kind of throws your opponents off. They have to think, crap, it's on suspension, it's going to come off and they're going to use it. Do I play my creature now and risk it getting destroyed? And if they don't, you kind of bought yourself some time and straight to the face. And Skewer the Critics from the new Ravnica set. Spectral cost of 1, so if your opponents have lost life, you can play it for 1 red mana just to deal 3 damage to any target. Great thing is in Modern, fetch lands are a thing. Tons of people are always sacrificing their own life for abilities, so you might even have to do the life loss yourself. But if you need to, bolt them, attack them with anything in your deck, and then you can play this for a cheaper cost. But we do run a playstyle for each 3 of these cards. Lava Spike, 1 red mana, always to the face at sorcery speed. Simple as that, just start chunking into their life. Skullcrack, I like to run it in my main deck because, well, it frees up my sideboard for other things. But really, let's face it, 2 mana, instant, players can't gain life, it can't be prevented, and it deals 3 damage to any target player. Like, really, it's not that bad. So I do like running the 4 on my main board, and there is a bit of life gain that you do run into now and then, so just having it ready to go is handy. Searing Blood. This is one of the cards that's often debated. Some people like Searing Blood, some people like Searing Blaze. I like Searing Blood because we don't need to worry about landfall, therefore we don't need to worry about having fetch lands on our deck to be a little bit more efficient. I like that it's just 2 mana, you deal 2 damage to any target creature, instant speed, and if it dies this turn, and it doesn't have to die to the Searing Blood, they lose 3 life as well, they take 3 damage from the Searing Blood. I like just a bit of extra reach there. Again, we run a playstyle for everything here. And that's the nice thing about this deck, nice even numbers everywhere. Getting into creatures, Eidolon of the Great Revel is such a pain and I hate it myself, but it's so good in this deck. The little 2 mana 2/2 creature, but it has whenever any player plays a spell with CMC 3 or less, they take 2 damage from the Eidolon. Now, it kind of sucks, you do hit yourself a lot, but we are so aggressive with our burn spells on our creatures, plus them taking damage from their own things, we should close up the gap pretty quick. It does make people think what they have to do very carefully because they are hurting themselves. The main reason we run up to most of Modern is quick, cheap and aggressive and low to the ground. I think the average spell within Modern is like 2 CMC or just under 3, like we're going to hit most things with it. Goblin Guide is one of the most aggressive 1-drop creatures ever printed, a 1 mana 2/2 with haste with a debatable effect. Some people will see it's a downside on our side, but then some people see the insight in it. Whenever it attacks, your defending player reveals the top card. If it's a land, it goes into the hand. If not, it just stays there. You get information, and that's what a lot of people do like about it. And to be honest, if they do get a land card in their hand, probably not the biggest thing in the world because most decks don't have effects that let them play additional lands. They're still limited to their 1 a turn. And if they do have those effects, they're till mid-late game, and we're probably trying to kill them by then anyway. Like the guide, the Swiftspear is another great aggressive creature, a 1/2 with haste for 1 mana but has prowess. Every time you cast an on-creature, give her a buff of 1/1 to end a turn. The idea is you stack up your burn spells, clear the way for her with Lightning Bolt, things like that, or start bolting the face to wear him down a bit, and the attack with the Swiftspear and away you go. Now Vexing Devil, this is a very debated card in this deck and this variant of it. A lot of people don't bother with it, but I think it's pretty fun and spicy. It's a 1 mana 4/3 fat devil, but any player may let it deal 4 damage to him to prevent the devil coming in, like sacrificing it. But look at it this way. If you're paying 1 red mana and your opponent takes 4 damage to get rid of it, it turned into a burn spell, didn't it? And if they don't pay the 4 life and they let it stick, they better have a removal spell because they're going to have to deal with a turn 1 4/3 swinging in at them. Either way, I'm pretty happy with the results. Grim Lavamancer is a huge staple in Mono Red Burn. It lets you pay 1 mana, tap him, exile 2 cards from your graveyard, and he'll deal 2 damage to any target. It gets you a bit more reach out of your depleted resources, so you already use up burn spells or dead creatures, and it's sometimes enough to close the gap Or I like to keep them all in reserve just to clear creatures out the way. If they haven't played a creature this turn, end of the turn, a little extra 2 damage in there. Lands, nice and simple, 16 mountains, I've gone for Mirage, I like my vintage, and Sunbaked Canyon. We do not run any white in here, you totally could for Boros Charm and things like that, but it is here purely to keep the deck simple in terms of mono red, but 1 land can sack to draw us a card. I will take that all day long. On to Sideboard. When you play mono red, you will learn very quickly that Leyline of Sanctity sucks. I hate that card so much. Your opponent can possibly get it for free on turn 0 essentially, and they have hexproof. I hate it so much. Most decks fight it if they can't deal with enchantments with things like Ratchet Bomb, where you can slowly tick it up and then tap it, remove all the threats of this equal CMC, but I've gone a bit different. I like the Detection Tower. The fact that it's a land that we can pay 1 mana, tap, and to end of your turn, your opponents and their creatures your opponent control, they still keep hexproof, but you can target it with your spells and abilities. Now, I like the fact it's also in the land slot. I can keep my deck's overall game plan and theme and efficiency the same. I can trade out maybe 2 Sunbaked Canyons and 2 basic mountains for 4 of these out of my sideboard. I think it's a good option. You're paying 1 mana to clear the path for a turn. It's not bad. Leyline of Punishment, just a one-off, just additional life hate. If your opponents are getting too much life, I will put this in, and there might be a time you get it for free if it's in your opening hand. Smash Smithereens is here for any and all artifacts in Modern. There are plentiful of them, whether it be Tron, Affinity, some of the Hardened Scale decks really go artifact heavy, just anything, just all-rounder, good to have. 2 mana instant, wreck an artifact, and then take 3 damage. Fine by that. Dragon's Claw is for your similar or mirror matches. If you're versing other red aggressive decks who are trying to burn you down as well, playing this reduces a lot of their effects and you're gaining life at the same time. Totally fine by it. In addition, your own spells do gain your life because it's when any player casts a red spell. We run 2 of them. Molten Rain, a bit of land destruction. 3 mana to wreck any land, and if it's a non-basic that take 2 damage well, fits our theme and lets us hate on mainly Tron, because I hate Tron, but I love it at the same time. It's such a love-hate relationship. Tormod's Crypt, I love that it's factored to 0 mana artifact. It doesn't affect our curve in any way, we can just keep doing what we need to do. To be honest, most of your graveyard decks that you will fight like Dredge and that, like they're quick. Dredge can be a very quick deck, but by time we're turn 3, 4, 5, we're trying to close the game out anyway at this point. So just having a 1 or a 2 turner to remove the graveyard is totally fine. We don't need to worry about a static graveyard hate, things like Rest in Peace. We don't need to worry about that. And that's the sideboard done, but if you totally want to, you could put Blood Moons in here because sometimes it's a cheese win and a win's a win. The idea is Blood Moon, everything's a mountain, all non-basics, so unless your opponents have basics out already, or they're mono red, they're kind of screwed. There'll be a lot of times you can drop a Blood Moon, people look at their options and go, well shit, I'm done. Scoop, done. But that's only if you want to. So I really can't believe I've never covered mono red. This is my mono red variant I've had for quite a while. I like to just tweak it and change things here and there. It's a staple in the format. It always puts up decent numbers. It's very simple to pilot, so if you're new to Modern, definitely look into it. It's an easy deck. It's the hardest decision you have to really make is, do I bolt the creature or remove any threats on the board, or do I just keep stacking into their face and can I beat them? That's probably the hardest decision in most games. And it's kind of budget, like it's been expensive in the past, now it's kind of gone down. Like a lot of your burn removal is about $1 or $2 a piece. Gobbler Guides used to be very expensive. A playset was nearly $100 at sometimes, but now you can pick up Goblin Guides for about $11, so they've gone down in price. I think Eidolon of the Great Revel is probably your next expensive card, about $10, $12, something like that. So you can build it for about $100, give or take it a little bit. It's not the most expensive deck, but it does put up good numbers for what it is. So let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think about Mono Red? Most of you veterans who are on the channel, you simply just know it. You've been around long enough. What are the little tweaks and variants you put in it? Because everyone builds Mono Red Burn a little bit different. So have a good one, guys. Goodbye. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I totally will do more of the basic and staples of the formats for sure. I'm just a dum-dum who forgot. So please consider liking the video. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you're not subscribed, please consider it. Only 10% of my viewers are. To my patrons, you guys are amazing. I love you. Your direct support in a global time like this, I can't thank you enough. And have you guys ever played Mono Red? I think most of us have. I'm assuming most of you guys have.